Hello dear students, you are welcome in this video. Students, we are making a series on the history of English literature. This is #8th video in this series, and in this video we are going to discuss about the next part in Elizabethan age, part 4th. We have already made 3 parts on the Elizabethan age. This is 4th part. Now friends, in this video we are going to have information about Shakespeare and his great works. This video will be devoted to Shakespeare only because Shakespeare is the most powerful personality in the history of English literature and he is the greatest of English dramatists. Friends, in this video we will cover the life of William Shakespeare and his great works. So let's start with his life. As we all know about Shakespeare, he is one of the greatest playwrights in the history of world literature, not only in English literature, but we consider him as the world poet. So dear students, when we look at the life of Shakespeare, we have a little knowledge of his life because most of the documents are not available, but what is there about Shakespeare's life is evident from a few documents which are taken from the parish church at Stratford. Stratford is a village situated on the river called Avon, and where Shakespeare was born on 23rd April 1564 in Stratford. So it was a very beautiful village, and we find that the scenery and some of the elements he took in his plays, we very evidently have Stratford in his plays and in his poetry. So William Shakespeare was born from a farmer father and an illiterate mother. It is the fact, dear friends, but later it was revealed that his father John Shakespeare knew writing because he worked as the accountant in that particular village, because he was a trader and he had to keep some accounts, he had to manage some money in his trading business, and he knew some writing. It is evident, but it is not evident that his mother Mary was an educated woman, but she was from a prosperous farmer's family. So this was his father and mother. Later we came to know about the schooling of William Shakespeare. Many scholars say that he did not learn for many years. He went to a grammar school in Stratford where he could learn or study for a few years, 4 or 5 years, and he had to drop the school or he had to leave the school because of the family situation. Later his family came in debt and his father needs his help, and he supported his family and had to leave the school. Then the fertile period came when he went to London. He went to London in 1587, and from 1587 to 1611 was the fertile period of William Shakespeare's life. In this period he composed the great tragedies, the great comedies, the great plays in English literature. So again, we have here a remark of William J. Long, how William Shakespeare was a keen observer. He knew the very nature of human beings and he incorporated these elements in his plays and in his poems, in his sonnets. So we have here the remarks of William J. Long about this great personality. Let's read this remark and understand William Shakespeare. Then Shakespeare must have been a botanist because of his knowledge of wild flowers, a sailor because he knows the ropes, a courtier because of his extraordinary facility in quips and compliments and courtly language, a clown because none other is so dull and foolish, a king because Richard and Henry are true to life, a woman because he has sounded the depths of a woman's feelings, and surely a Roman because in Coriolanus and Julius Caesar he has shown us the Roman spirit better than have the Roman writers themselves. He was everything in his imagination, and it is impossible from a study of his scenes and characters to form a definite opinion as to his early occupation. Now friends, it is very evident that how Shakespeare incorporated all these elements in his dramas and poetry. Say for example, he knew the keen knowledge of human nature, he knew the behavior of human beings, he knew the vices and virtues of human nature. So all these things we find in his plays, and hence he became very significant and great playwright in the history of English literature. Friends, he married in 1582 to a woman called Anne Hathaway, who is 8 years older to him, and many scholars consider that his married life was serene and humble. He was satisfied with his married life, because there are rumors about his married life, because many places indicates that his life was not so serene and humble as the scenes from his various plays depict us, but it is not the evident. Many scholars consider that it was a good life he lived with his family. Friends, let's move to the next part of his life. He went to London in 1587, and from there we find his real progress, his real prosperousness began. He began a very fertile career in acting. First he worked as a curtain raiser, a boy who raises curtain. Then he worked as an actor, and then he refined some old plays, and from there we find that he never looked back in the creation of plays, in the creation of poetry, in the creation and composition of various works in the history of English literature. So this is a very fertile period from 1587 to 1611, and in this period we find that he composed great plays, he composed great poetry. In the next decade he became so popular in England, in the circle of literary men, in the circle of authors, and he was known as Gentle Shakespeare. The very adjective gentle was attached to his name. Here we have remarks of Ben Jonson quoted by William J. Long. I loved the man and do honor his memory. On this side idolatry as much as any. He was indeed honest and of an open and free nature. So friends, here we find that Ben Jonson was contemporary of Shakespeare. He was friend to Shakespeare, and he was the person who criticized Shakespeare at the greatest extent, and he was the person who also praised Shakespeare at the greatest extent. We find the words of Ben Jonson that he says that he was an honest and humble person. He was a good-natured person, and when Ben Jonson describes him as he was not an age but the ages, we understand that how Shakespeare's contribution is significant in the history of English poetry, in the history of English literature. So friends, this is the account of Shakespeare's general life. Again, he became the owner, he became in partnership the owner of Globe and Friars Theatre, the most valuable and the greatest theatres at that time, we can say, on which we find various plots were played, various stories were played on the stage of these great theatres, and he became the owner of this Globe and Blackfriars Theatre. So dear participants, this was the peak point of his great composition, his great achievements, and in the next years he retired at Stratford again to live a serene and humble life among the villagers. He was attracted to the village, and all the time we find that he describes this village, this atmosphere, the very beautiful moors, the very beautiful green lush greenery from his village, because he lived in Warwickshire, and again he wanted to retire at his home, and he came in 1613 to Stratford, and he lived there until his death. Friends, it is great coincidence in the life of this great personality and in the history of English literature. Such a great poet died on the same day of his birth, that is 23rd April 1616. So this is the life story of William Shakespeare. Actually there are many things which need to be included in his life story, but due to time's constraint we cannot add all the details here, but I have tried to give you the overview of this great personality, the life of great personality. Now friends, let's move to the next part, that is his greatest works. Here we have, actually there are many scholars who divide or who classify his works according to various titles. For example, some scholars classify his works as the source of his plays, some classify his works according to the type of dramas. For example, we have tragedies, comedies, history plays, we have different types of categories of his plays. Friends, here we are going to divide his plays into 4 major periods. We will talk about first period, second period, third period and fourth period, and in this particular periods what kind of plays he composed. William Shakespeare has composed 37 plays, 104 sonnets and 2 long poems. This is the great works of William Shakespeare, and based on these works he became the great personality in the history of English literature. So friends, let's move to the division of his works, his plays. We will divide his plays into 4 major periods as William J. Long has given us, and let's understand what kind of plays he composed in this particular periods. First period or early experiment. In this period we have some famous works as Venus and Adonis, Rape of Lucrece 1594, Titus Andronicus, Henry IV 3 parts 1590 to 1591, Love's Labours Lost 1590, Comedy of Errors, Two Gentlemen of Verona 1591 to 1592, Richard III 1593, Richard II King John 1594 to 1595. Second period, it is the development and growth of William Shakespeare's maturity, and in this period we have dramas like Romeo and Juliet, Midsummer Night's Dream 1595, Merchant of Venice, Henry IV first part 1596, Henry IV second part, Merry Wives of Windsor 1597, Much Ado About Nothing 1598, As You Like It, Henry V 1599. Then friends, we have third period where we find maturity and gloom in his writing. Some of the works here we have sonnets. He composed 154 sonnets. Then we have Twelfth Night 1600, Taming of the Shrew, Julius Caesar, Hamlet, Troilus and Cressida 1601 to 1602, All's Well That Ends Well, Measure for Measure 1603, Othello 1604, King Lear 1605, Macbeth 1606, Antony and Cleopatra, Timon of Athens 1607. So these are some of the plays. In this period we find that he composed great tragedies, the black tragedies, the dark tragedies which we know, and he is famous for these greatest tragedies in the history of English literature: Othello, Macbeth, King Lear, and we have Hamlet in this third period. The next period we have fourth period, or we also can call it as late experiment period, and here we have plays Coriolanus, Pericles 1608, Cymbeline 1609, Winter's Tale 1610 to 1611, The Tempest 1611, and Henry VIII, which is unfinished play. Now friends, if you look at these periods, we find that how he became mature from 1587 to 1611 or 1613. So friends, this is all about William Shakespeare and his greatest works. Now friends, there is obvious question in our mind, how Shakespeare has become so great a playwright in the world. Still we find that Hamlet is one of the greatest plays in the world still today. How he could become so great? If you look at his works, we find that he was the keen observer of human nature. When you look at Hamlet, we find that he goes into the deep of human psyche, and from there he digs the deeper emotions of human beings, and that's why he could share these emotions with the latter human beings, with the races which come after Shakespeare. If you look at any of his play, we find that his plays are very common, which are attributed to humanity. We find the whole humanity in his plays. His plays are not restricted only to a particular kind of place, say for example England or the Britain or Europe, but his plays traveled beyond that particular place, and they have become the names in general household around the world, and hence he became so great, the playwright. He could intervene many kind of things in his plays. He could intervene the human psyche, he could intervene the very behavior of human beings in particular situation. If you look at the Macbeth, you find that how Macbeth was caught in a grim situation, and how Lady Macbeth instigated the Lord Macbeth, and the ambition overflowed in his mind, and it became the flaw in the character of Macbeth. So this kind of things he could evolve around his plays, and so he became so great. So friends, this is all about the great playwright William Shakespeare, his life and his great works. Friends, I am aware that William Shakespeare cannot be covered in one video or in one lecture. You need many videos, you need many lectures to cover William Shakespeare. But I hope this is the introduction to William Shakespeare, and in the next videos or in coming videos we will definitely consider William Shakespeare's great works one by one. So friends, let's stop here. Thank you very much. Please like this video, share this video among your friends, and subscribe to Literature Simply, and don't forget to press the bell notification icon.